Hi friends, Tiana here, and I've got a new Cayton art project I'm super excited to share with you. In honor of Universal Kids Day, we will be creating our own Earth hot air balloons to show that no matter where we are all connected. Let's get started. What you'll need for this project is some blue construction paper, also some white paper. I'm using cardstock, tissue paper in different shades of green, any kind of string. Today I am using some twine, a pencil with an eraser, and anything that you can color with. Today I am using colored pencils, a ruler, scissors, and glue. So the first thing you'll want to do is grab your blue paper and pencil, and we're gonna draw a circle for our world or the earth. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you want to grab a bowl and trace that around, you can, but I'm going to just draw a circle as best as I can. So there's my interesting shaped circle. And again, it doesn't have to be really big. You can make it as big or small as you want. Just remember, it is going to be like a hot air balloon, so you want it to be a pretty decent size. So now that we've gotten our circle, I am going to go ahead and cut this out. And make sure when you are using scissors that you have the help of a grown-up. I like to kind of cut around the edge, and then that way I can go in and shape it up a little more. All right, that's a bit better. So now I'm gonna go ahead, take my pencil, and I'm gonna mark out the parts on here that will be the land of our Earth. And I'm just gonna do a couple of squiggly lines. So now that we've got our land kind of sketched out in areas, next we are going to grab our tissue paper in different shades of green, and we're gonna cut this into tissue paper squares. Now that we've gotten all of our tissue paper cut into squares, we are going to go ahead, take our earth, and start crumbling these up and gluing them into all of the spaces we marked in earlier. And here is our earth. So I'm gonna sit this to the side to dry. And while that's drying, you wanna go ahead, grab your white paper, your ruler, and your pencil with an eraser. And for this part, it might be a little tricky, so make sure you pause and rewind as many times as you need to. So we'll be turning this paper into a little box. Okay, so the first thing we'll want to do is turn our paper so that way the long side of the paper is this way and the shorter side of the paper is this way. Then you're gonna take your ruler and you're just gonna line it up at the bottom of your paper. You're gonna take your pencil and we are going to make the dimensions 2 inches. So what that means is that we're gonna count out 2 inches. And remember, a square or box, a square has 4 sides. So what we are creating right now are the sides. So we need to have 4 squares. And each square is gonna be 2 inches across. So that means that's 1 square. That's 2 squares. That's 3 squares. And this is 4. And so to help remember, we're gonna count 1 inch, 2 inch, and I'm gonna make a mark here. So this is gonna be square 1. 1 inch, 2 inch. That's square 2. 1 inch, 2 inch. That's square 3. 1 inch, 2 inch. This is square 4. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and finish drawing out the rest of that line at the bottom. And this part is gonna help us glue it all together. So now we have our markings here. And now I'm gonna turn it this way so that way we can finish that line. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish marking out, and I'm gonna line my ruler up. Now we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So now we need a bottom piece for our little box. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna you can pick this square right here at the top, the one that doesn't have this little extra part here. I'm gonna go ahead, line it up with this line here. Now the bottom piece needs to be a little longer, so each of these pieces are about 1 inch across. So now when we go across here, we are going to make sure it's 2.5 inches. Okay, so that's 1 inch. This is 2 inches. And now I'm gonna make it 1/2 inch longer. So now that I have 2.5 inches marked out, I'm gonna take my pencil and mark it at the 2 inch area. So this way we have our bottom part, and this extra half piece is the part that'll help us glue it all together. So I'm gonna turn my paper again, and then I'm just gonna line it up and finish marking it all across. There we go. So you should have a shape that looks like this. So this is all an L. And again, for this bottom part, all you're doing is taking your ruler, you line it up with the bottom, and you mark out 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. You need to have 4 of these marked out. So, and then the extra space at the bottom, you just use that part for gluing. And then this part, you line it up over here, and you mark out 2.5 inches. At the 2 inch mark is where you'll line it up, and then the extra 1/2 inch space is what you'll use to glue. So now that we have our shape here, we're gonna go ahead and cut this part out. All right, so now we've got our L shape. But what I like to do is fold it backwards, and then once I've folded them all backwards, I fold them forwards again. So all of this side is folded. Now we'll do this side. So now that I've folded it backwards, now I am going to fold it forwards. Because we made that crease, it makes it a lot easier to do. So now that we have all of the pieces folded, when you start to put everything together, you'll be able to fold it like this. But before we glue it together, we're gonna flip it over so the lines will be the inside of our box. So we're gonna flip it over this way and we're gonna decorate the outside of it. All right, so now that we've got our design going on here, we're gonna go ahead and start putting it together with some glue. And now you should have a little box like this. So I'm gonna sit this to the side to dry. Now that everything is dry, it's time to put it together. So what I'm gonna do is, you can use scissors since we blah, 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 blah. Rewind. Now that all of our pieces are dry, we're gonna go ahead and start putting it together. And in order to do that, we need to make some holes here. You can use scissors if you have that on hand, but I'm going to use a hole puncher. So now you're gonna get your string, any string that you have on hand, and you're going to start to tie it and attach it to your little box area here. I've got my Earth hot air balloon. Now, just for fun, I'm gonna set that to the side. And I'm gonna show you how to make a little person to go inside of your hot air balloon. You can use anything you have on hand. You could draw and cut out a little person. I'm just gonna show you how I made this one using one long piece of a pipe cleaner. And now we've got some people to go inside our hot air balloon. Thank you so much for coming to create art with me today. I would love to see what you have created, so don't forget to tag us on Instagram. See you next time.